Right now in the UK, there are thousands of people sitting on around £100,000 in savings and quietly panicking. Do you pay off the mortgage? Do you buy a rental property? Do you just leave it in the bank and hope for the best? The uncomfortable truth is that most people make the wrong move with £100,000, and it costs them years of financial freedom they could have had. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do with £100,000, step by step, based on real UK numbers. And I promise you, it's not stick it all in one property and hope for the best. So let's get something straight first. If you've saved £100,000, you've already done something most people in this country never manage. According to a survey from Finder, UK adults have an average savings balance of £19,214 in 2026. And that figure is skewed. The average savings for those under 55 is just £9,888. So you're sitting on 5 times what most people your age have put away. You're ahead. But here's the trap, and this is the thing I want you to hold on to for the whole video. Most people who hit £100,000 make one of 3 specific mistakes that quietly eats that money alive. I'll get to those in a minute, and the third one is the one almost nobody sees coming. First though, before you touch a single pound of it, there are 3 questions you need to answer. Because £100,000 feels like a magic number, but it can vanish faster than you think if you don't know what you're actually trying to achieve with it. Question 1. What's your time horizon? Are you thinking 5 years, 10 years, 20 or more? This matters more than almost anything else, because money you might need in 3 years has no business being in a volatile investment. Money you won't touch for 15 years has no business sitting in a low-interest savings account. The time horizon shapes everything. Question 2. Is this money replaceable, or is it a one-off? If you're earning a good salary and saving regularly, this £100,000 is one milestone in a longer journey. But if it came from an inheritance, the sale of a property, or a redundancy payout, this might be the biggest lump sum you ever see. Those 2 situations need completely different plans. Question 3. What's your biggest financial risk right now? Not in theory, actually right now. Is it job security? Is it high-interest debt? Is it the fact you're renting with no deposit and house prices keep moving away from you? Because someone renting with credit card debt needs a completely different approach to someone who's mortgage-free with a stable income and a full pension. Same £100,000, totally different plan. Get those 3 answers clear in your head, and then we can build something that actually makes sense for your life. Now, the 3 big mistakes. And this is where most people go wrong. Mistake 1. Leaving the bulk of it in a low-interest savings account because it feels safe. I get it. It feels responsible. But as of May 2026, the average variable cash ISA interest rate is just 2.06%. If inflation is running above that, and it has been for years, your money is shrinking in real terms every single month. You're not protecting it, you're slowly losing it. The account balance goes up a little, but what that money can actually buy goes down. That's the trap. Safety that isn't really safety. Mistake 2. Throwing all of it at the mortgage or one property and ending up what I call asset-rich, cash-poor. Your net worth looks great on paper, but you've got 0 flexibility. One unexpected expense, a job loss, a health issue, a big repair, and you're in trouble with no liquid cushion to fall back on. Tying everything into one asset, even a good one, removes your options at exactly the moment you might need them most. Mistake 3, and this is the one I mentioned at the start, the one almost nobody talks about. is putting it all into one concentrated bet. A single stock, a crypto position. One buy to let with no cash buffer. £100,000 is enough to genuinely change your life. It is not enough to start taking lottery winner risks. The people who blow lump sums almost always do it because they felt like £100,000 was the moment to be bold. It's actually the moment to be smart. So what does smart look like? Let me give you a framework that normal people can actually use. I call it the 4-bucket approach, and the idea is simple. You don't put £100,000 into one thing. You spread it across 4 different jobs that the money needs to do. Bucket 1 is your safety bucket, and this gets roughly 10 to 20% of the total. So somewhere between £10,000 and £20,000. This bucket does 2 things. First, it covers 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses in easy access cash. Not your full lifestyle, your essentials. Rent or mortgage, food, utilities, transport. That's your sleep at night money. It's the buffer that stops you panic selling investments or racking up credit card debt the moment something unexpected hits. Second, before you do anything else with the rest, you kill any toxic debt. Credit cards, overdrafts, buy now, pay later balances. Because no investment you can make is consistently returning 20% a year, which is what most credit cards are charging you. Paying off that debt is the equivalent of a guaranteed, tax-free return at whatever rate you are being charged. That is the best risk-free trade in personal finance. Bucket 2 is your freedom bucket, and this is the engine of the whole plan. This gets 30 to 40%, so £30,000 to £40,000, and it goes into a stocks and shares ISA or a general investment account, invested in a diversified global equity and bond mix. This is your long-term growth money. The current ISA allowance in 2026/27 is £20,000 for adults. So if you're putting in more than that in one tax year, the rest goes into a general investment account, or you drip feed it across tax years. And here's why this bucket matters so much. When your money is held in an ISA, you don't pay UK tax on anything that money earns, be that interest, dividends, or capital gains. That compounding effect, tax-free, over 15 or 20 years, is genuinely powerful. This is your financial independence fund. Not your pension, that's separate. This is the pot that gives you options before you ever reach pension age. Bucket 3 is your home bucket, and this gets 20 to 30%, so £20,000 to £30,000. If you own a home, this is for strategic mortgage overpayments. Not throwing everything at it, but a targeted lump sum that can shave years off your mortgage term and save you tens of thousands in interest. And the word strategic matters here. Check your overpayment allowance first, because most lenders cap penalty-free overpayments at around 10% of the outstanding balance per year. If you're still renting, this bucket becomes your deposit booster, getting you closer to owning and building equity instead of paying someone else's mortgage. Bucket 4 is your opportunity bucket, and this gets 10 to 20%, so £10,000 to £20,000. This is the one people either skip entirely or misuse. This is not fun money. This is future income accelerator money. Training that could move you into a higher paying field. Capital to start a small business or go freelance. Money to relocate for a better job. The return on this bucket isn't a dividend or an interest rate. It's potentially a £10,000 to £30,000 increase in your annual income. That compounds harder than almost anything else you can do with money. Now, I want to show you what this looks like in practice, because the percentages mean different things depending on where you are. If you're renting with no property yet, your split might look like this. £15,000 into the safety bucket to clear any debt and build your emergency fund. £35,000 into the freedom bucket through a stocks and shares ISA. £35,000 into the home bucket as a deposit, and £15,000 into the opportunity bucket for whatever's going to move your income up. That's a plan that builds wealth and gets you closer to owning a home at the same time. If you already own your home with a mortgage, it shifts slightly. £15,000 into the safety bucket, £40,000 into the freedom bucket, £25,000 in strategic mortgage overpayments, and £20,000 into the opportunity bucket. You're growing long-term wealth while simultaneously reducing your biggest liability. These are templates, not rules. Your numbers will be different. But the principle, spread it across at least 3 buckets, never put it all in one place. That's the bit that actually protects you. Now, I want to tackle the big one, because I know what a lot of you are thinking. What about buy-to-let? What about property? Let's compare 3 realistic paths for £100,000 over 20 years. Option A. You leave most of it in cash at low interest. Based on current average savings rates, you're barely keeping pace with inflation, and in real terms, you're likely losing ground. Over 20 years, that's a significant cost. Option B. You use it as a deposit on a UK buy-to-let. On the surface, this sounds compelling, and for some people it genuinely works. But here's what the buyer-rental conversation usually leaves out. You've got stamp duty on top of your purchase price. You've got mortgage interest that's no longer fully tax-deductible for higher-rate taxpayers since the Section 24 changes. You've got maintenance costs, letting agent fees, insurance, and the very real possibility of void periods where the property sits empty and you're still covering the mortgage. And you've got a single, illiquid, concentrated asset. If the local market dips, or you get a difficult tenant, or rates move against you, your options are very limited. Option C. You invest gradually into a diversified stocks and shares ISA. You get liquidity. You can access the money if you genuinely need it. You get diversification across hundreds or thousands of companies. You get tax-free growth on every pound of gain. And you don't get a call at 11 p.m. because a boiler has broken. The honest answer is that a balanced plan, some mortgage overpayment, some ISA investing, often beats the all-in rental approach for most normal people, when you factor in the tax, the hassle, and the risk. Property isn't bad. Concentrated, leveraged, illiquid property with no buffer is what creates problems. So let's talk about what this money can actually do for your life over time, because this is the part that most financial content skips straight past. £100,000 invested sensibly in a diversified portfolio isn't just a retirement fund, it's an options fund. Over 15 to 20 years, with a reasonable average annual return, that money could realistically grow to a point where it covers a year or two of your living expenses entirely. And when you combine that with a paid-off or nearly paid-off mortgage, and even a modest side income, something shifts. You don't need to wait until 67 to have choices. You could go part-time in your 50s. You could take a sabbatical. You could change careers without the financial terror that usually comes with it. You could move somewhere cheaper and live better on less. The goal isn't just retirement, it's options. It's the ability to say no to things that don't serve you and yes to things that do. That's what £100,000, managed well, actually buys you. Not a number in an account. Time and freedom. Before I wrap up, I want to leave you with 4 rules of thumb you can actually remember and use. 1. Before you invest anything, kill any debt that's costing you more than your expected investment return. There's no point chasing 7% in the market while paying 20% on a credit card. 2. Aim to spread £100,000 across at least 3 buckets, not one. Concentration is the thing that turns a life-changing sum into a painful lesson. 3. Use ISAs for long-term growth, cash for short-term safety, and the mortgage for guaranteed risk-free returns. Each tool has a job. Use them for the right job. 4. Review the plan once a year. Not every month, not every time the market wobbles. Once a year, check whether the buckets still match your life and adjust if they don't. The people who keep rolling the dice every few months are the ones who end up with nothing to show for it. If you found this useful, drop a comment below and tell me, if you had £100,000 tomorrow, what would your split be? Cash, ISA, mortgage overpayment, or property? I genuinely read these, and it helps me understand what to make next. And if you want to see how this £100,000 fits into your bigger picture, how much you actually need invested before you can step back from work entirely, I'll be doing that video soon on that exact question. The number might surprise you.